Alright everyone, the legacy media CRYBULLY bitch fest continues today. Taylorlorenz has now been banned off of Twitter, has various reactions to this, some of which are farcical. They're almost self-satirical to the point where, I can't even believe that Taylorlorenz is so stupid that she thinks that some of the things she says here, link in the description, would be taken seriously. I'm almost thinking it's sort of like just literally to get attention. Like saying things that are so off the wall and so clearly antithetical to observable reality that it'll be mocked widely by people who don't like her, but at least they're talking about her so she can hawk her TikTok page and shit like that. Link in the description. I'm going to read through this. Now, she was presumptively banned for doxing. This is Taylorlorenz's career in a nutshell. Doxing and defamation. She works for the WAPO. Has doxed numerous people on various platforms, has never faced any particular problems because of this. It's interesting, if you post somebody else's location, even in a nominal manner, like you're not insinuating violence or that they've even done anything wrong, you're just saying, hey, this person happens to be here at this particular time, it's drag queen story hour, you get shit canned. Taylorlorenz can practically show up at someone's house harassing them, posting everything online about them, from A to Z. And so far, until now, there's never been any consequence on mainline tech. And the fact is that the CRYBULLYs bitching about this should look back through the Twitter TOS, and you will realize that this has already been part of their harassment policy for years. It's just that the devil of differential enforcement took hold. I've said this for years. Beyond the rules themselves sucking on certain platforms, they're onerous, they're overburdensome, they're too opaque, they're too easily misconstrued, they're too open-ended. They can apply to situations or not apply depending on what your opinion is. While those are all problems, the biggest problem I've identified is differential enforcement. Rules for thee, not for me, especially for the legacy media. On YouTube, if you have a priority account, that's legacy media, corporate brands, astroturfers like the breadliners, people who are handpicked and given contracts directly by the platform, you can get away with things that would get the average person banned unless they are really far beyond the pale. Even if you run afoul of TOS, you may not get the strike. They may just take the material down. They may just demonetize it. They may just, put your video to perma-private or something like that. Instead of giving you the strike they would give to the average person. So there are things that I can't say on YouTube as a platform that Cenk Uygur can say. In other words, there is preferential treatment. It's differential enforcement. It's sort of like a microcosm of U.S. law. If you are a big boy, you get the cushy club-fed deal, or you don't get in trouble at all. They neglect to investigate. They pull a Hillary Clinton bathroom server, and they say, well, yeah, you broke the law, but you didn't really mean to do anything wrong, so you can go about your merry business. If you try to do that and you are not rich and politically connected, or extremely powerful in a corporate sense, and not a full dissident, of course, we see that differential as well, then you get shit canned. You end up in prison. You end up with a massive fine. You end up deplatformed across the whole world. Lorenz is throwing a fucking bitch fit like the attention whore that she is. And we'll go through a couple of her responses to being banned. Now, she had deleted virtually all of her tweets the other day. She did this in an effort to prevent this from happening. To be clear, when she's acting dismissive about this, I guarantee that it does actually sting that she's not allowed to use Twitter. She's notorious for blocking anyone critical of her particular politics, myself included. I will note long ago, probably uses block lists like every other thin-skinned leftoid. But she's spent her time online primarily attacking free speech, attacking people's privacy, that's probably the biggest part of it, and defaming them. But here's her response, other than making several TikTok videos in which she bizarrely claims, well, Elon Musk is probably watching me on a burner account. Interesting, since you literally had a Twitter burner account active for several hours before deleting it. Projection, thy name is Taylor. By the way, we don't know how old she is because, archive.org happens to have connections to her family. Just so there's a reason I don't use the Wayback Machine for archiving things. They've been known to scrub things that are inconvenient politically, so it's not really an archive at this point at all. It's rather sad. Taylorlorenz, this is Ezra Kaplan from NBC giving a write-up, giving a little bit of fluff on here. Taylorlorenz's account was suspended after tweeting at Elon Musk asking for comment. Here's what she has to say. Cancel culture has gone too far. I think the way that Musk is arbitrarily banning anyone who he personally doesn't like has dangerous consequences for free speech. So again, we can interpret this one of two ways. Either your self-awareness is at the level of a sea sponge, which is certainly plausible because you're a leftoid, you work for WAPO, so you're a propagandist. Either you don't have self-awareness and you literally have no understanding of what's been going on at Twitter for the last 5 or 6 fucking goddamn years, or this is just an attention grab. You're saying something that is deliberately antithetical to the observable day-to-day reality of your posting cross-platform, in which you have repeatedly called for cancel culture. You have attempted to intimidate people into silence. You put out bad pieces. People criticize you, and you pretend that they're harassing and going raped ape on you. You attack people for criticizing you. You spread lies about people. You work for a so-called journalistic outlet, the journalistic standards at this point of which are basically, hey, an anonymous source told us something and it happens to jive with our preconceived worldview. Let's make a front page story about it. Anonymous source says Donald Trump pees on Russian hookers. Anonymous source says Elon Musk killed several of his kids. Shit like that. No journalistic standards or ethics whatsoever. You're even lower than the New York Times working for WAPO. There's a follow-up. Taylorlorenz on getting suspended from Twitter. As a journalist, well, we use that in a very loose sense, yellow journalist maybe, I have always been a fierce defender of free speech, so these moves by Musk are worrying. Again, you said not one thing for years and years and years. Well, the New York Post was banned on Twitter. Well, various other, Gateway Pundit, I think they're still banned on Twitter. They're probably going to be part of the unbanning party. Project Veritas, James O'Keefe himself, his personal account. While news content on BitChute has been throttled in links both in DM and publicly on the platform. Yada, yada, yada. We've seen arbitrary enforcement of TOS, including when TOS don't even exist. And we've got inside info on the Twitter files showing that they acknowledge this to be the case, not just in regards to banning Trump. They literally ignored their own TOS to do that. We have evidence and proof of this happening over and over again. We already had observable anecdotal evidence of it because you can literally see what someone's posting on Twitter. And it's not like banning them on that platform means that they can't talk about it on Gab or something like that and give you the goods and say, look, Agrawal banned me. This is the tweet that was found to be an offense. You decide for yourself whether you think that it actually breaches any of their harassment policies or something. Lorenz has never been a force for free speech. She's one of those NIMBYs who only protects her own free speech. She has the right to speak freely. You should shut the fuck up. This is the way the legacy media works. I love it how there are people who are chuckling about this double standard after years and years and years of nonstop abuse of TOS, not just on Twitter but elsewhere. And then these people are complaining about them, as though them chuckling about the Crybullies being hoisted on their own petards for once is evidence that they don't really stand for free speech. See, the right wing hates free speech. They use the term right wing as a blanket for literally anybody that's criticizing them right now. But they've been doing that for years too. Everybody's a Nazi except actual Nazis. Those people are fine and we should give them more money over in Ukraine. Everyone's Nazis except for actual Nazis within the U.S. government that are, in some cases, directly descended from Operation Paperclip imports. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then harassing Twitter. Can you explain why Taylorlorenz's account was suspended? It's because of the doxing. She has been doxing people for goddamn years. Yeah, multiple individuals showing up at their houses and shit like that. It's because she ran afoul of company policy. Don't worry, Taylor. You'll get your Twitter back, and you can, in the meantime, you can make your cringe-ass TikTok videos and pretend that you're not in your 40s or at least late 30s or something. We're not 100% sure. Aren't you a little bit out of your depth when you're using, like, TikTok at your age, by the way? Like, do you have no standards whatsoever? It's like that fucking moron that ran the disinformation board briefly for the Biden admin before now becoming a registered foreign agent for a British firm that does the same thing. Making TikTok videos about Donald Trump and being extreme cringe. Aren't you people a little bit old for the tween platforms? You know, the Chinese propaganda platforms that are mainly overrun with cringe dance videos and other stupid self-aggrandizing bullshit? It's like if ever there was a vapid period on YouTube where people competed to make cringe webcam videos, TikTok has somehow managed to take the basic formulaic premise and make it 10 times worse and more cringy while also making it more censored. Hint, there's a reason why TikTok's not going to supplant YouTube. Just saying. Dude, look at this shit. Cancel culture's gone too far. Dude, yeah, people had been telling you it's a double-edged sword for years. They're finally proven correct. You get banned for breaking the rules on the site because the new admin in charge of the site no longer plays favorites for you because you happen to have buddies in the investor class that work with Twitter, is actually attempting to use the TOS that you promoted to be constructed. Disinfo, defamation, doxing, etc. These things are added partially at the behest of the Crybullies. Whoa, some journo comes along on Twitter, and their house, a picture of their house, Streisand effect kicks in by the way, is posted on Twitter or YouTube or something, and they cry bloody murder and say, people are trying to have me assassinated, we need to do something. So they institute a TOS policy to protect their privacy. Now all of a sudden the shoe is on the other foot, and the same TOS that they helped to craft, both directly and through third parties that they fund and work with, all of a sudden now it's a bitch fit problem. Oh, well, cry me a goddamn river. How will you ever survive without being able to use Twitter for probably a too short period of time? Honestly, I'd keep Lorenz banned. It's an egregious abuse of the platform. There should be a differentiation between someone topically breaking a rule and something that's outright egregious, especially by a person with a major platform. They could do some real damage to another person via defamation, doxing, harassment, etc. And doxing's not speech anyway. It's an attempt to intimidate people into silence. It's effectively a digital heckler's veto. That's about all. Peace out.